Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Latham. Welcome to you all, old friends and new, young and old. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first or your thousandth Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you're with us. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexual orientations. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome here. I will call us to worship with a poem read by our speaker today, Anne Goodwin.
Thank you. Words by Adrienne Rich. My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been lost. I must cast my lot with those who, age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world.
At this time, we will light a chalice, and I invite you to light a chalice, candle or lamp, where you are too. Anne Goodwin is a climate activist, a folk musician, and a lifelong UU. She has attended and led many programs through the Work That Reconnects network. This work has been developed over the past 50 years by teacher and activist Joanna Macy and others, and draws on deep ecology, systems theory, ancient wisdom traditions, and engaged Buddhism. The intention of the work is to refresh the weary souls of activists, thinkers, healers, and anyone feeling moved to join by opening a deep awareness of our place in the web of life and our power to act on behalf of the world. She has often been a guest speaker for other UU congregations, and we are delighted to welcome her here at the UUSA today.
So, thank you so much for inviting me to spend time with you, particularly at this extraordinary moment in the history of the world. There is no message I could have written a week ago that would have anticipated the place that we are in right now. But I hope that my message will be useful. I want to talk about hope this morning, and I wonder what the word hope means to you. It comes up for me a lot because when I tell people I work as a climate activist, people sometimes ask, but isn't it too late to do anything about climate change? Isn't it hopeless? Haven't you read the new report from the International Panel on Climate Change? So I want to talk to you today about how I've come to understand hope in the 10 years since I've been working in the climate movement. A little background, I work for an organization called Mothers Out Front, which is a national movement of mothers working to ensure a livable climate for all children. The group brings together mothers in local communities across the U.S., and we advocate for transformative systemic change in climate policies at the local, state, and national level. We're looking to achieve a just, swift, and complete transition away from fossil fuels to renewable energy. If this sounds like something you'd like to learn more about or even get involved with, I have good news. If you didn't already know, Mothers Out Front has an Amherst chapter and a Northampton chapter, and some members might be here right now. Hello, if you're here. I know many of you are engaged in some kind of social change work or have been engaged in a movement in your life. And I think what I say will apply to whatever kind of issue you're involved in. So let's look at what hope might mean for us. First, I'll say what I think hope is not. Hope is not the same as optimism. Optimists believe that the right thing will happen without any help from them. If you base your willingness to act on optimism, You'll only take action if you're pretty sure you'll get the outcome you want. This is the kind of hope that gets expressed like, hopefully it won't rain and we can have our hike. Or, hopefully Congress will vote the right way on this bill and we can breathe a sigh of relief. So when we think like this, we put all the power on the people outside ourselves while we sit passively by. Waiting for these outside forces passively leaves you just waiting around to be rescued. I find this optimism a flimsy sort of hope that just doesn't begin to stand up to what is needed in this time of deepening crisis. So, if hope isn't optimism, it doesn't have anything to do with the opposite of optimism or pessimism either. So pessimists believe that the wrong thing will happen no matter what they do. It gets expressed like, oh, it's going to rain, so we might as well cancel our plans. Or, Congress will never do the right thing, so we might as well just write them off. This, like optimism, lets you off the hook from acting. It also opens the door to cynicism, which amounts to making yourself a very comfortable seat from which you can observe everything from the sidelines. To me, optimism and pessimism are not useful in the definition of hope. How do we get off the seesaw of optimism and pessimism and off the bench of waiting to see how things turn out? As was mentioned in my introduction, I am a student of the work of Joanna Macy. She is a world-renowned teacher and the creator of the work that reconnects, that has inspired many thousands of people to engage wholeheartedly in a transition or a great turning to a life-sustaining society. I met Joanna and her work about 10 years ago when she was still actively crisscrossing the world leading workshops. She is now 93 and lives in Berkeley, California, where she continues to write and teach. She began to talk about the concept of active hope in a book of the same title around 2010. In a speech in 2009 to the Bioneers Conference in California, Joanna said this: "We live in a time of radical uncertainty. That is the darkness of our age, this anguish of uncertainty in which we live. The promise of this dark age are the gifts we can harvest from uncertainty itself. Uncertainty can free us from the need to be constantly taking our emotional temperatures to see how optimistic or pessimistic you are at the moment. That game of hopeful, hopeless is conjectural. It takes you out of the immediacy of the present moment, which is where your strength is, your alertness. Only in the present moment can you take that step. Only in the present moment can we choose just what we're going to do." In the book Active Hope, she says, "Whatever situation we face, we can choose our response. When facing overwhelming challenges, we might feel that our actions don't count for much. Yet the kind of response we make and the degree to which we believe they count are shaped by the way we think and feel about hope. Active hope is a practice. Like Tai Chi or gardening, it's something we do rather than something we have. Since active hope does not require optimism, we can apply it even in areas where we feel hopeless." Okay then. Active hope is a practice. We can apply it even in areas where we feel hopeless. We can use it even in the face of great uncertainty. I find this definition of hope very useful and a great relief. So let's explore it a little bit. The practice of active hope requires some key steps. 3 of them. First, we must take a clear view of reality. This means really taking in the scope of the situation. It can be difficult to know where to draw the line in this day of, the deluge of media and the constant news. But it means to keep awake and alive to the situation. This may be difficult, but it is the only way we can understand what to do. We can't treat an illness we have not diagnosed. So an open-eyed and open-hearted view of reality is called for. Taking in reality with open eyes and heart may bring up some feelings. It may bring up fear or sadness or anger or despair. Do not be afraid of these feelings. They are evidence that we are part of the larger body of Earth. They are evidence that we are connected and that we love what we may be losing, that we love what is in pain. We don't mourn what we don't love. So these feelings wake us up to the beauty of life, and then we are naturally motivated to act on its behalf. So don't be afraid of awakening to the pain of the world, especially if you can do it with other people and not in isolation. Second step in active hope is to identify the direction you'd like things to take. What is your vision for the healing of the world? What is your vision of a life-sustaining society? Can you picture what Charles Eisenstein calls the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible? You don't have to see the whole path. Maybe it's just a trailhead. Maybe it's an intuition that draws you to a certain place or a certain group of people or a particular issue that resonates with you. So the third step in active hope is to take steps to move yourself toward that vision. What actions can you take that will move you toward the world that you want to see? However small they may seem, don't worry. You don't have to do it all yourself. That's part of the good news. You are part of an ecosystem of healing, a network of repair, a web of innovation and creativity and revisioning that is going on all the time, all over the planet. As you do this, and maybe this is the fourth point, accept uncertainty. We are an integral part of the living body of Earth, and as such, everything we do has an effect on the whole. The actions we take always have consequences, but we might not be able to see them or even imagine them. We don't take an action because we're confident of the outcome. We don't know if the world we want will come to pass. We don't know if we are on the precipice of disintegration or if we are on the brink of healing. We don't know that that world we want will come to pass, but it would be arrogant to discount the possibility that it might. I'll talk a little bit about my own personal web of support and inspiration, which is the women I stand next to in Mothers Out Front. I'll tell you a little bit about what we've done recently. So we have a goal to get all the utility providers in the state to transition off fossil fuels as a source of power for electricity and heat. Last November, we hand-delivered 3,000 postcards to the CEOs of our 3 utility companies, demanding they align with our Mothers' Agenda for a Clean Energy Future. We had spent the previous months gathering these signatures on these postcards in our communities. On the day of the action in November, moms gathered in the early morning in Northampton and set out with messenger bags full of these postcards on bikes west to the headquarters of Berkshire Gas in Pittsfield and eastward, where a relay of runners and electric cars and more bikes brought the postcards to the offices of National Grid in Waltham. Then we continued by car, bike, on foot, and by public transportation into downtown Boston, where we gathered in force. As evening fell, chanting and singing together, we brought the final postcard delivery to the offices of Eversource. It was a great day. And a few days later, 2 of these companies contacted us to ask for meetings. We were able to sit down and give them our Mother's Agenda for a Clean Energy Future face to face. We followed up with a petition of over 1,000 signatures. We are now waiting for the utility companies to make the next move. Being in Mothers Out Front has made me step into my active hope. I have ventured wobbly and imperfect outside my comfort zone into things I never thought I'd do. Learning about grassroots organizing principles, sitting in a pipeline trench, talking to my elected officials, asking people to volunteer their time. But all around me are other mothers taking action and taking risks with the time and talents they have, making phone calls at nap time, talking to other moms at playgroups, or going all in with many hours of organizing a week. Do we moms know that we are doing the exact right thing? No. But the uncertainty of the moment and the high stakes call us to creativity, courage, and cooperation we would never achieve if we were acting out of optimism or pessimism or a sense that we knew exactly what to do. The Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg says it quite well. Some people ask if I am an optimist or a pessimist. You don't have to be an optimist to take action. Action is what brings hope. I hope that you will find your own way into the practice of active hope. Take a clear view of reality. Allow yourself a vision. Begin to take steps and embrace the uncertainty. You won't be alone. There are people right beside you who are doing the same thing. Let's go back to Joanna Macy on active hope just as I close. Active hope is not wishful thinking. Active hope is not waiting to be rescued by some savior. Active hope is waking up to the beauty of life on whose behalf we can act. We belong to this world. The web of life is calling us forth at this time. Thank you so much for taking my message this morning. I very much appreciate your attention. And now, I'd like to invite you to join me in a song. It's actually 2 short songs put together, and I believe the words are in the chat. The first song uses the words of the writer Arundhati Roy, set to a tune by Ana Hernandez. Another world is not only possible, she is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. She is on her way. The second little song is a tune I put to a quote from the woman who's sometimes called the mother of the civil rights movement, Ella Baker. She said, This may only be a dream of mine, but I think it can be made real. So you can sing together on Zoom, as you have experienced. So you all know, keep yourselves muted. Sing along with me or whoever is in the room with you. I'm going to teach you these songs quickly, line by line. And then I'll play the guitar and we'll sing them together. So, another world is not only possible. Sing that. Another world is not only possible. She is on her way. She is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. She is on her way. She is on her way. Let's do the whole thing. Another world is not only possible. She is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. She is on her way. We'll sing that like 3 times, and then we'll sing this other one. It just goes. This may only be a dream of mine, but I think it can be made real. Let's do that together. This may only be a dream of mine, but I think it can be made real. All right, I see your lips moving. I'm encouraged that you're singing. So here we go. Another world. Another world is not only possible. She is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. She is on her way. Another world is not only possible. She is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. She is on her way. Another world is not only possible. She is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. She is on her way. This may only be a dream of mine, but I think it can be made real. This may only be a dream of mine, but I think it can be made real. This may only be a dream of mine, but I think it can be made real. Dream the dream, make it real. Dream the dream, make it real. This may only be a dream of mine, but I think it can be made real. Another world is not only possible. on the way.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together.
May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love of the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come. Blessed be.